everyone! Wouldn't you know it? Another new video on the Ultra Healthy channel. The fun times never stop. It's amazing. So I posted this video today because I've got some really exciting, incredible news. The Steam page for Violet Wisteria has gone public. Yes! Woohoo! Okay, so yeah, it's really true. The Steam page is now available for Violet Wisteria. You can go and check it out, see screenshots in the video, and wishlist it if you're interested in playing it when it comes out. This is a really exciting moment for me. Obviously, it's almost been exactly 2 years since I quit making the YouTube videos. It was about 6 months later that I really started working on the game. So it's been maybe just a little over a year and a half. And the game is now far along enough such that, I've got the Steam page, and a trailer and all this kind of stuff. So that's really, it's awesome for me. And I hope that you can all be excited with me. So please check it out when you have time. The links will be down there, in the comments and the description and everything. So in this video, I thought it would be fun to talk about the things that I've worked on since the last video went up, when I kind of announced all of this, and what I've done on the game, what kind of progress has been made since then. So a lot of it has been kind of, under the hood stuff, things in the background that aren't as exciting as, stage design and boss patterns, but it's all got to be there for, a complete game. So first of all, I've completely implemented difficulty options. There's 2 difficulty settings. You can choose normal, which is basically the intended difficulty, and there's also an easy difficulty setting, which makes a few things, a little bit more accessible. There's more continues. You don't take damage if you accidentally use the wrong color attack on an enemy, those kinds of things. And I'll toy with some other things, and tweak it, with a bit more play testing. But you still get to see, you play the full game, you get to see the full ending, all the unlockables happen. So nothing wrong with starting out with the easy mode. So that's there. Also, another big thing, and people who are following me on Twitter have seen some of this. There's now different controller options. So it's not that the buttons are completely mappable. You can't just choose which button, jump and attack or on like that. But this game has a very specific control system, with those 3 color attacks. And you can now choose to use the shoulder buttons to kind of indicate which color you're attacking with instead of the D-pad. So instead of up for blue, neutral, or straight for white and down for red, it's left, it'd be opposite for you guys watching this, so it's left for blue, neither or both for white, and then right for red. So it's kind of the same order, right? Blue, white, red, blue is the order that they're strong in. So for people who might play some more like modern games, or more used to using those right and left shoulder buttons more frequently, it might be better for you. So that option is there. For me personally, it's just much easier to go on the fly with the D-pad, especially because sometimes, you have to attack and hold the jump button at the same time when you're reflecting off enemies below. So having to introduce a 3rd button at the same time is awkward for me, but it's doable. I tested it out. It's absolutely functional. So that's there. Also, another big thing, which takes an incredible amount of busy work, language options. So, I've been planning on having several languages available. So right now there's finally English and Japanese are both selectable and both totally implemented. Those are the languages that I know. So those are the ones that are there right now. I would definitely like to hire some translators and get a few other languages in there. Depends on how much things cost and stuff like that, but there's still time until release, so I definitely am planning on doing that. Also, of course, because this is going to initially be a PC game, there's now screen size options. Got to have those, right? So it's not a difficult thing, but it's got to be implemented, so you can choose between screen sizes and full screen. And also, are going to be unlockables. When you've progressed a certain ways or beaten the game. There's a gallery mode, so you can kind of check out the cutscene artwork, and there is going to be a boss rush. Yes, there's definitely going to be a boss rush. Not there yet, but it's absolutely going to happen. So lots of progress there. Also, these are the other things that, are just things that you wouldn't think about, when you're playing the game. They're not visual, but I built the system for getting the music to loop. It's just a little thing, but it's got to happen. So up until now, it was almost like a PC Engine CD game where, it kind of fades out and then a few seconds later it starts in again. Now the songs are looping indefinitely. So very cool there. And a lot of new music and sound effects have gotten implemented, and that's very, very far along. So it really feels more like you're playing a complete game now. When you've got all the music and sound effects in place, as opposed to something that's, on the way or halfway done. So that's really cool. As for things that are actually happening in the game, in the action part, and some of you have probably seen these things on Twitter, but there were a few. First of all, there's a title screen now, and that's really cool. It's the same as the logo, but it's it's the pixel art. So I think it looks absolutely awesome and captures the style and the imagination of the era that the overall game is going for. Just a very little simple animation, some sparkling, nothing fancy, but again, I think it just fits the overall thing very well. So that's cool that's done. And you may have seen that I finally have a graphic that goes along with when you've got the power-up item. So up until now, there was no way of knowing, after you've gotten that item when the effect is gone. So now you can see it. There is a cool little, it's a really simple little kind of flashing stars thing that follows your character. And, I was planning on doing like a bit more, like kind of like having the whole screen kind of like flash or sparkle a little bit. But, when I saw what I had done with that, it's just, because I'm going for this very specific kind of feeling that, you've really gone back to 1991, more is not necessarily better. And I think it really, just as it is, captures that mood. And the one thing that's really cool is there's different music that plays when you have that power up. It's not an extremely long song because the power up only lasts 15 seconds, but it's very high powered, and it's like really inspirational. I think it fits the whole thing very well. So that's really cool. So, and basically other than that, quite a bit of debugging, actually. I don't know if that's things you would consider to be under the hood or in the action, but very important. Obviously, I'm a newcomer to all this. I'm a beginner, and I've done some things as I've gone, but I specifically, kind of purposely put some things off, saying, okay, I'm going to do this at a certain point in time. So a lot of that's happened over the past few weeks. So it's much, much more playable now because of that. So I've gone full throttle on this thing, I think, since this last video, like in particular, these last really 3 or 4 weeks. I've hit it hard, and the game has come along drastically. So a lot of fun things to look forward to. I am definitely hoping to get into the next, the Steam Next Fest. So I believe that the Steam page is going to be public in time so that I can apply for that. If that happens, the game is so far along that putting a demo together will not take more than a week, if that, a few days probably. So the demo could be coming very soon. I think I'm gonna put out a demo relatively soon, whether or not I get into Steam Next Fest. So that's all happening. So, I've said before that Violet Wisteria is meant to evoke a very specific emotion and a very specific, style, like the game blueprint theory, from the late 80s and early 90s. It's not going to be for everybody. It's for people who really still religiously play their NES, their Master System, their Genesis, and their TurboGrafx, and love those games with all their imperfections. But I think there's actually a really big group of us. I think there's a huge demographic of us that very few people are making games specifically for us. So that was why, I did this thing to begin with. So if that seems like something that you would enjoy, please do check out, the Steam page and consider wishlisting. And I know people just, get really, not excited, but, get really stuck on the wish list numbers. And it's like, yeah, Steam picks up games that have a lot of wish lists and like might promote them more. So there's a reason for that. But also, it's kind of silly just to ask people, "Oh, wish list doesn't matter, just wish list." Even if they're not planning on buying the game or are not interested in that genre of game. So I would say, if this is something that you're passionate about, if you're a really hardcore retro fan like me, please do check it out and consider wishlisting. So for now, I don't know when the next video on the Ultra Healthy channel will be. I'm just going to be, busting butt, working hard to get this game ready for release, which I'm definitely still planning for early 2023. Gonna make this happen. So thanks for checking out the video. Thank you for your enthusiasm, and look forward to the game. See you again.